back to WagerTalk.com. I'm Marco D'Angelo, joined in studio with Ralph Michaels and Bryan Leonard. We're going to break down Pac-12 championship game. We've got Colorado and Washington. Guys, these two teams, they were and they were in last week, and they both took care of business. Washington did it against their arch rival, Washington State. Colorado, they had a tighter game against Utah. Both teams benefited from their opponent having 4 turnovers last week. But this is for the marbles and possibly for Washington. They get into the into the playoff Final Four. That's going to be a mess after this weekend if everybody wins that's supposed to. Guys, I'll start with you, Ralph. What are you looking at in this one?
You know, the interesting thing is that both teams are 8-1 in the Pac-12. Both teams lost to USC. That part aside, as people are talking about USC playing as well as anyone right now, it's really offense versus defense. Washington, 8 wins in conference, all have been by 7 or more, and they've averaged 31 points or more in each game. Colorado State's played some close games. 3 wins.
Colorado,
thank you. They're in the Pac-12, right? Colorado has won 3 games by a total of 11 points, so a few close games, but they've allowed only 16 points per game in their last 8. So it clearly is offense versus defense.
Bryan, you look at this Washington team, and obviously Colorado does have the good defense, but Washington's got a pretty decent defense themselves. But where I think the difference in this game, to me, is the Washington offense. They are so diverse. They run the football well, pass the football well. I just don't know if Colorado can get this team stopped in here. And you talk about a Cinderella story. I mean, Colorado, from where they were last year to where they are this year, absolutely nobody saw this coming.
Yeah, Colorado's one of those teams that's definitely having a great season. So regardless of what happens here, this has just been a terrific season for them. You mentioned Browning. Browning had that one bad game against USC. He was pressured all game long. I'm not sure that Colorado could get that kind of pressure on him. I think Washington wins this game. I made a 7.5, 53, which is roughly where the number is. But this Colorado team, just keep in mind the 2 teams they lost to were USC and Michigan. And I hear this Michigan team is pretty good. I mean, Ohio State may not think so, but the people of Michigan will tell you this is a pretty good football team.
They are, and if you go back to that Michigan game, Colorado actually had the lead in that game in the second half at Michigan. So, I mean, this is a team that has played some big games for sure. But I look at the game last week on Utah, and I was vested in that game as I had Utah in that one. Colorado made the plays that they needed to make. Utah, to me, shot themselves in the foot all night long. Their turnovers all came in, deep in Colorado territory where it could have been a different ball game, and Colorado got the win. I don't know if it was a case of, and it's why I liked Utah, but a lot of times when teams are in that just win and they're in, you kind of play conservative and, just to, skate by and move on. But it's a different story this week.
You know, one thing about that Colorado game at Michigan, remember their quarterback was injured in the third quarter. So they had the lead until their quarterback was injured. But, I look at this game and I'm going to say 2 things. First of all, it's in Santa Clara. Temperatures in the low 50s or high 40s at game time Friday night. So that's going to have effect. You think Colorado, Washington aren't warm, but they're not cold-tempered at this point in time. So this may be the coldest game that both teams have played. Winds aren't supposed to be an issue. But we talk about Washington's offense, and people have talked about them being fast-paced. When they've played the top 4 defenses they faced, USC, Washington State, Stanford, and Utah, they've only averaged 62 points per game. They've been the benefactor of turnovers to score those points, special teams, and defense. So I'm going to take my pick here and lean with the under in this game. Neutral setting, San Fran, chilly, windy, 2 top 10 defenses in my rankings, and pressure on both teams. You don't get those explosive plays like you do in other games.
Bryan, which way are you looking?
I'm just glad there's nobody named Connor quarterbacking in this football game.
Inside joke
from last week. Yeah, we all make mistakes. But like I said, this is basically where I had it. I know the Pac-12, 13, whatever, how many they're up to this year. I know who they want to win because that conference makes a lot of money. Same with a lot of other conferences. Mm-hmm. They got to get that big payday. I think Washington's a better all-around team, but I think the line's about where it should be. I'm laying off this game.
All right, I got a slight lean to Washington, and you talked about Washington and how well they score, and a lot of it is because the defense sets them up. Efficiency rating, they're the third best in the country offensively. They're scoring a point every 10.8 yards. A lot of that is because if the defense is giving them a shorter field to do so. But I'm going to go ahead and go with Washington with that balanced offense. And they were expected to be here. Colorado wasn't. Colorado, really no pressure on them because nobody gave them a shot. But I think Washington's the better team, and I'll take them. I got them winning by 10 or 11 points here, 31-21, I'll call it. All right, guys, don't forget, $69 weekend all access. It's the best deal going at Wager Talk. You can get everything from Thursday through Monday. That's college football, that's NFL, that's NBA and college basketball. Check it out, Thursday through Monday, $69. And guys, if you're new to Wager Talk, after your first $12 purchase, email support, put your username in the email, and we will put a $50 sign-up bonus in your account for you to spend any way you want. That's our way of saying thank you for joining the Wager Talk family. We're going to be back with more here at wagertalk.com.